Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and welcome to the CBS Evening News online edition. Just ahead, a possible deal on the Intelligence Agency's reform bill. How good is it? We'll also give you the details on the last-minute political arm twisting involved. Then, to the bloody invasion of a U.S. consulate in Saudi Arabia. How could it happen? We'll give you a look. And the story of a southern good old boy whose financial shenanigans nearly ruined an entire town. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News online edition. The bill long stuck in Congress to overhaul U.S. intelligence may finally be unstuck. Full reforms were strongly recommended by the 9/11 Commission. President Bush said he backed what critics call a watered-down version of the original bill, but key Republicans in Congress were blocking it until now. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts has the latest on the cliffhanger on the Hill and what may be a final compromise in the making. John?
Dan, a key Republican holdout late today withdrew his opposition to the bill and cleared the way for a vote after President Bush assured him intelligence reform would preserve a clear chain of command from the Oval Office all the way through to troops on the ground.
The primary issue was the protection of our troops in the field. We think that we've achieved that.
The bill would put all of America's intelligence gathering capabilities under the jurisdiction of a single powerful national director with a goal to avoid the sort of intelligence failings that preceded 9/11. Congressman Duncan Hunter had blocked the measure 2 weeks ago, fearing it could handcuff the Pentagon's ability to get real-time intelligence to troops in combat.
It is a good piece of legislation. It is a necessary piece of legislation.
President Bush invested some of the political capital he earned on election night to reach a compromise Hunter and others could live with.
I'm very optimistic now that the bill will move forward and that we have the votes to win in both the House and the Senate.
That would be a victory for many families of 9/11 victims who kept vigil outside the White House today.
How many more people have to die before you're willing to make this country safe?
It's also a victory for President Bush, whose arm twisting narrowly avoided an embarrassing post-election legislative defeat, one that could have had lasting impact on his second-term agenda.
If he gets rolled here on this bill, imagine what it will be like when he tries to come forward with other controversial proposals.
There's still one potential hang-up. Republican Congressman James Sensenbrenner wants the bill to address illegal immigration and bar illegal immigrants from getting driver's licenses. Sources say Sensenbrenner will get only lip service on those issues now, with a pledge to look into them next year.
There's ample reason to believe the intelligence reform bill will pass both the House and the Senate tomorrow, but no one is ready to break out the champagne just yet. They remember how close they were 2 weeks ago, right before the legislation ran straight into a wall. Dan?
John Roberts reporting live from the White House. Thank you, John. The need for better intelligence in the war on terror was vividly illustrated again today, as was the fact that Osama bin Laden apparently is alive, well, and still at large. A heavily armed gang of killers staged a surprise assault on the U.S. consulate in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. No Americans were killed, but at least 8 other people were. CBS's Tom Fenton has late details.
Terrorists suspected of links to al-Qaeda blasted into the consulate, killing 5 foreign employees in what a State Department official called a major security breach. While no Americans were killed, the official expressed concern that defensive measures the State Department has in place all over the world proved vulnerable. Diplomatic security agents are being rushed to Saudi Arabia as President Bush warned that terrorists are still active there.
They want us to leave Saudi Arabia. They want us to leave Iraq. They want us to grow timid and weary.
Americans who remain there keep a low profile.
Those that are the most fearful have already left. But each new event is another indication that it's time to go home once our jobs are over here.
The consulate sits in the heart of a major port on a road open to traffic. The attackers used grenades and guns to storm through the gate of the outer wall. Americans were rushed to safety behind the inner wall, while Saudi police engaged the terrorists, killing 3. The confusion from Saudi officials was as thick as the smoke rising from the consulate. They first said that 4 Saudi National Guardsmen were killed and hostages were taken, and later denied both reports. But whatever the truth, The Saudi spin is that they are making progress against terrorism.
I think where the measure of success lies is in the fact that these terrorists did not achieve their aim of entering the consulate.
But that's little reassurance to Americans there after a series of devastating attacks in the past 19 months that killed more than 90 and wounded hundreds, most of them foreign workers. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Farther south in Georgia, there's a community racked by betrayal and turmoil of a different sort. CBS's Mark Strassman reports on a big rip-off in a small town. In tonight's Eye on America.
This was where the finance company was downstairs.
In Union Point, Georgia, Ben Stewart ruled as mayor. And to residents like Anne France, he lived like a Southern squire.
How important was he to this town?
He was the backbone of this town. He owned just about the whole town, and everyone trusted him.
Until Ben Stewart betrayed that trust and left many people here in ruins. The Stewart empire started coming apart the day retired maid Elsie Williams borrowed $200 from Stewart Finance to buy a new couch. It turns out Williams was paying what amounted to 95% interest on that loan. On another Stewart loan, she was paying for an auto club membership. Trouble is, Elsie Williams doesn't drive.
I haven't had no car in over 40 years.
40 years?
40 years.
What Stewart Finance was doing was profiting big time off of what I call the misery and the bad circumstances of our clients.
Adrian Ashby of Atlanta Legal Aid investigated Elsie Williams' case and found scores of others like it. When she alerted authorities, federal and state investigators started pressuring for answers. The unraveling had begun, and the people who paid the heaviest price lived here in Union Point. They knew Ben Stewart, trusted him, and invested in his company. And hundreds of them would lose everything they had.
We had asked him if everything was fine, if the business was safe. He said business had never been better.
Lied to your face?
Lied to our faces, and he took our money anyway.
How much money?
$300,000.
Stewart Finance was actually a pyramid scheme. Investors were paying for Stewart's princely lifestyle, the private plane, the dozen country club memberships, the mansion now for sale. Anne France and nearly 900 other investors lost every penny they put in.
And it breaks my heart. They worked hard for their money, and he betrayed them.
In all, $38 million vanished, although Stewart's lawyer denies criminal intent.
There were 5 or 6 civil suits and criminal investigations waiting in the wings, and it eventually became more than he could withstand.
One morning, Stewart put himself in the hole he had dug for everyone around him and committed suicide. Elsie Williams had pulled a thread that unraveled an empire built by friends and neighbors who banked on trust. In Union Point, Georgia, I'm Mark Strassman for Eye on America.
More stories are just a click away. But be sure to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Tuesday's broadcast, the so-called birth control patch. There are new questions about its safety, and we'll give you a hard look with our investigation. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.